Hi, everyone. I'm James Garbutt.
And I'm Denny Dumas.
And this is the Garbutt Dumas Real Estate Podcast. Denny, COVID's still here and winter is coming. What do you think of all these new realtors that are trying to get their roots in this industry, get their name built up? What do you think they're experiencing this year? It must be a frustrating year is what I'm getting at for them.
I think a lot of confusion. I think like when we started looking back, you're what, 11 years? I'm 7, something like that.
I'm 12 years deep now.
12.
Jeez, I'm a veteran, man. I'm a veteran.
Wily, yeah. Looking back, like the things that I did on a weekly basis are, if I was starting out now, I don't know if I would be comfortable enough to do them. Like everyone's caution level and comfort level with COVID is very different. And so I think as a realtor, we need to understand that like different people have different comfort levels, and approaching people's houses is probably not super comfortable for a lot of people right now. So like the door knocking and letter dropping thing, I think letter dropping is still acceptable. You're not really invading people's space. You're just dropping something under their doormat or in their mailbox. But the door knocking thing, I think I'd be uncomfortable doing it right now.
I mean, door knocking is hard enough to get rejected, but never mind getting rejected in the COVID world. Yeah. So, I mean, if I were, I don't think if I were starting off fresh today, I don't think I would be door knocking. Yeah. You know, I would just shift my energy elsewhere. Mm-hmm. There's other activities you can do. Door knocking is a very effective thing, though. I mean, getting direct to the people that live in the homes that you want to sell. Yeah. There's no better way to do it if you do it consistently. But there's other things you can do.
There is. And I'll let you talk about online stuff. I think that is by far the biggest area of opportunity going into 2021, 22 in building a database online, building a following online, becoming that like area expert, I think is the most important thing. And there aren't a lot of people doing it extremely effectively and on a regular basis right now. So I think that is one area. I'll let you talk about that.
Yeah.
I think open houses are important though. And the reason I'm coming at it this way is like they've changed. Open houses are very different. Even busy open houses, like for our team, we're trying to have no more than 2 groups in the property at a time. So as a realtor, it gives you a little bit more opportunity to talk to people. In busy open houses in the past, we'd have 15 groups in a house at a time. And so trying to have a conversation with someone is a challenge because there's 12 other groups asking you questions. So I think the other thing that just popped into my head, in the last couple weeks, I think I've had more phone calls on our listings from people that don't have agents. Like that's always one of the questions is someone's calling asking about one of our properties. Can I see it this Saturday, whatever it is? I'm asking if they have a realtor. Should I reach out to them and let them know that this client is calling me, whatever it may be? A lot of people are saying no. And I don't know what the difference is in the last couple of months, but it seems like in the last few weeks that is the case. So transition that to open houses. A lot of people are coming through open houses again. They, like for us in the last 2 months, I'd say they're very active. And so really good opportunity for new agents to meet buyers that don't have realtors.
I was at a smoking busy open house in Lonsdale area, Lower Lonsdale area, North Van, and it was lined up. Mm-hmm. I mean, they had 2 agents there. They did a great job in the times of keeping everyone separate and by appointment, but it was lined up. And I couldn't help but think that if I was a buyer, like there was an unrepresented buyer in front of me, and if being that host of that open, if I was pleasant, respectful, and provided all the information and gave them time and care, that buyer would leave with a great impression of me. Mm-hmm. And I mean, you know this, Denny, and I know this. You do open houses like, you do them well, and people call you, and people come to you, and the clients just land on your lap. You don't have to, you don't have to ask for their business all the time. Yeah. You can ask for their business just by being incredibly helpful and informative. Totally. And then they just want your business. Mm-hmm. So I think that rolls into some of the other things is how do you be incredible, helpful, and informative if you're new?
Yeah.
You know, how do you inform if you're new? And that's where learning comes in. But keep going on the open house.
Honestly, that's a really good point that maybe is a little like is not talked about enough, is really underrated, is just being pleasant with people in our business. Like people always ask me, what did those first couple of years look like? And like, how did it get from, starting in 2014 to selling $100 million in real estate a year? And my response is always like, I just try to be nice to people all the time. Like, I don't have all the answers. I'm not like in terms of construction knowledge and stuff like that. Jamie's has way more experience than me and knows way more. Just be nice. And if you don't know something, don't make it up. Just answer, like say, you know what? That's a great question. I haven't been asked that before. It's, I can find out the answer for you. If you give me your email, good way to get contact info too. And I'll follow up with you and I'll let you know. But like, honestly, being kind to people, being knowledgeable helps a lot. Being able to answer questions, being able to, people coming through open houses asking about neighborhood stuff and that kind of thing is huge. But being kind goes a long, long way. I had a phone call this weekend on Sunday. It was a gentleman that came through one of our open houses, and he called, and the only reason he called was to say how pleasant his experience was at the open house. He said he showed up 5 minutes late. The realtor on our team that was there was really accommodating, allowed him time to walk around. He's like, I didn't feel like I was rushed. They answered a few of my questions. Honestly, it was a really, really good experience at an open house. He called for the sole purpose of telling us that.
That's incredible.
Like, that is the long-term reputation stuff that goes a long, long, long way.
I've had someone in the past, and this is kind of a toot your own horn moment, but I've had someone in the past that came into the open. I was kind and pleasant. And she said, everyone from your team, whenever I come into an open house from you guys, everyone's so nice, so it's nice to have that culture and reputation. And not a lot of people know that. That was just a one-off instance, but that goes a long ways, and like little things, like just kindness and spending time with people. And also, when someone has a property question, just saying, I don't know, and leaving it at that versus let me find out by the time you get back to the kitchen. I'll find out for you and I'll have that for you when you get back, or let me take your info and I'll get that info back to you. But being helpful, that's what being helpful is not leaving and I don't know. It's doing what you can to get them the information that they're asking for and going out of your way for it, really.
Totally.
Yeah.
Let's get back to this podcast.
All right. Go ahead.
Online.
Online.
What should agents be doing in a slower COVID winter for the next few months? Like, even our team is noticing that in the last couple of weeks, it's starting to slow a little bit. Lead flow, new leads calling is starting to slow, which is pretty typical this time of year. Typically December, January are slower months. What can newer agents do to have a good 2020 or 2021?
I'm a little biased in the online strategy stuff. So the assumption here is that you're an agent and you're going to pick something to work on online, whether that's Instagram, Facebook, a website, a blog, a Twitter account, but you're going to be, your personality works for one of these avenues and you're going to put time and energy into it. In a non-pandemic, I feel like that's a great time to get out and network the traditional way, door knock, and be around more people in your area and in your target area and people that know you and in your circles. But this is not that environment. So my assumption here is, well, what can you do when you can't do the traditional stuff? And what works for me after 12 years of being in this business when I have these occasional easy deals and easy clients land on my lap, and I think to myself, why did they get the phone? Why did I get that phone call in that case? And what it comes down to for me is, you're trying to gain authority at something. Whether it's a neighborhood, whether it's an area, whether it's a social media platform, and you're trying to gain the confidence of the people that are watching that, and you also want to be an expert of whatever it is that you want to be an expert of. So I see this COVID winter coming up as an opportunity to learn. And when you're learning, create content from what you learn and share that content with the world. And whether that's an Instagram thing or a website thing, the more you do of that in this downtime, the more long-term benefit that will bring back to you. And, particularly if you decide that, you use this time to analyze where you do some soul searching, Denny. You do some soul searching. You look at your new realtor, you think, what do I want to sell in 5-10 years? Or, when I get established, where do I want to focus my time? And what do I want people to call me on for? It could be a neighborhood or it could be a property type. And whatever it is, there's a lot to learn about that area or that property type. And there's a lot you can share with the public that they would appreciate. And, if you decide, I'm going to be a Walnut Grove specialist in Langley. And so I'm just going to blog everything Walnut Grove community oriented. And then I'm going to start rolling into the types of properties in Walnut Grove. And a lot of Walnut Grove homes are built in the 80s and 90s. What are common issues of homes built in the 80s and 90s? And so there's so much content when you think about it that you can create that can be searchable and can benefit you down the road. And if you really kind of channel your energy and not spread it wide and channel it on certain platforms that you decide, hey, I'm going to be good at this platform, blogging and Instagramming, and I'm going to be pumping Walnut Grove and 80 and 90 built homes. You could, 6 months later, you could come across as being an expert of that. Mm-hmm. And that's where I would really focus my energy, is learning and creating content around what I want to be.
Mm-hmm. People, now, do you have any advice or draw on some personal experience from insecurity behind that type of approach? So where I'm going with this is being newer, being less experienced, being less knowledgeable, and learning these things for the first time. Let's say it's an area. I think a lot of people may assume that if they're not posting sold all the time, and they're posting things that they're learning, they're coming across as inexperienced. And I personally think the opposite, but do you have any personal experience with that stuff or advice to kind of get over that hurdle?
It's always scary when you're doing something new. Yeah. You might as well get comfortable being uncomfortable. I look back at my first videos and they're terrible, and they're still somewhere online, I'm sure. But they're awful. And I guess the downside is today's video standard has raised. So if video is part of it, there is a little bit of a higher bar than there was 5-10 years ago. But you're not going to, if video feels right to you long-term, and it's just to get over the speed bump mentally in the short term, then you're going to have to just start doing it. And there's no way around it. It's just put yourself out there and decide who you're speaking to. Because if you're concerned about the realtors around you and how they perceive those videos, that's energy and thought in the wrong direction. Totally. If you're doing videos because you're trying to target people or buyers that are curious about a neighborhood, speak to them. Don't worry about the others. So all I would say is put them out there and don't stop, and you'll find that you'll get better at it. Mm-hmm. You don't have to put, the terrible stuff out there if you don't want to. You can filter some videos, but let some bad ones go out there. The more you get out there, the more you'll realize you stop caring and you start focusing on the content and what you're doing. Mm-hmm. And once you get the mindset in the right direction and you're focused on the right things, it's just about doing it.
If the message is genuine and helpful, it doesn't matter what you look like. If your hair is out of place, I don't even have hair. I don't I think that, and what you're wearing, people will not post videos because of the sunlight on their face or whatever it is. If the message is genuine and helpful, that's what I try to live by and post stuff. Mm-hmm. If the message is genuine and helpful, it doesn't matter what you look like.
Are you providing information that's useful and helpful? And then the delivery will improve over time.
Totally.
Yeah. I mean, both Denny and I are experiments of this. We have both gone through our cycles of being incredibly nervous and awkward and then doing it and then and it's like nothing anymore. And you particularly in a short period of time, mine was ancient years ago, but my early videos were just awful. But that's okay. That's what got the ball rolling, and they worked at that time. So for that time, it wasn't so bad.
It's cool when you it takes time, of course, but it's cool when it starts becoming a strength and then clients are commenting on it. We've got multiple listings this year because our clients have commented that they love our videos and they're like, we want you to do the video in front of our house, which is really cool. Because 3 years ago, I would have not put my face on a video.
No, but the reason why videos are important there's a number of reasons why videos are important. But for us, Denny's talking about the property videos. Mm-hmm. So if you get comfortable doing your own little neighborhood videos and your own educational videos, that leads up to funky intros in a property video or whatever the 2021 version of that's going to be. And those videos are what get us extra phone calls. So when we can highlight a property well and put our personality into it, that's two birds, one stone right there. That's marketing and marketing the list, marketing ourselves and marketing the listing. So that's a huge positive. The other positive is you're doing videos that are informative and educational. Like if you're highlighting a neighborhood, that information is probably still relevant 2 years from now, 4 years from now, 5 years from now.
Totally.
And if people search that in a Google search bar, that YouTube video might show up first or might be pretty prevalent. And then the extra part of it is if that you're doing that YouTube video, you're doing that searchable video potentially, if this is part of your strategy. And then that video can also have a written component, which helps for SEO and searchability too. So that's if you go the blog approach. And my thought on the blog approach is there's only so many people that can make the first page of a neighborhood or city. So really look at your angle and niche before you just start talking Vancouver real estate. That's a hard one to poke out in. And then on the social media side, I don't know your thoughts, Denny, but my thought would be pick your channel almost, get really good at, Facebook and Instagram kind of go hand in hand, but they're two really different people in a way. Yeah. But if you like Instagram, just focus on Instagram and then, build up your Google business for .reviews and have your blog go on because the blog's permanent content. And if you have the blog, then you got to have the YouTube channel too. But that's not for everyone, but that is a great content foundation in a pandemic to start building your name up in an area.
Totally. It's overwhelming and intimidating when you're starting from scratch in social media. There's so many platforms that can be beneficial if you're active on them, but doing everything mediocre, I think, is not even close to as important as doing one thing really well.
No, absolutely not. And I think we've been a victim of trying to do everything many times and realizing now it's better to channel the focus.
Well, I think it's good to experiment to find out what you like and are good at, right? For me, I like Instagram. I like the casual professional environment that it allows me to be in. Whereas LinkedIn is more, it feels professional. It feels a bit like put on a show to me. I don't know. Maybe it's just my perspective, but
you're just not a professional. You're not an accountant or a lawyer. Hey. Those people love LinkedIn, Denny.
I'm on your team, Jamie. Don't put me down.
Sorry, you're not a big business professional. We're very professional, Denny.
But I felt really comfortable on Instagram, and I think it took me a little while and trying different things. I've tried to be active on Twitter. It's just not really my thing. It's not the way that I communicate. And so I think trying them at the beginning is important. But narrowing in on what you like and are comfortable with.
You can make a huge gain in 2 years of doing this.
Totally.
And if you start thinking, okay, I'm going to say Instagram and I'm going to do a blog that's going to niche on this. And then I still have all these, my circle of influence, people that know, or sphere of influence, people that know me. And what you're going to find is 5 years from now, you're going to have your sphere of influence supporting you because they're the ones that know you and support you. You're going to have your Instagram, if that's the channel you've chosen, that peer group support you and send you business. And then you're going to have your niche that you've shared in your blog, maybe you're the Walnut Grove guy, or maybe you're the New Westminster guy that also really does a lot of building.
Yeah.
And once you have people that are looking for your niche and people that are looking on your channel, you have these streams of leads that come through. And it's nice when you're not just reliant on people that know you, but you're also the builder, the Walnut Grove, or the New West guy, and the Instagram guy. They're different communities on their own. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Anyway, that's content and learning, and there's a lot to learn. So specifically about learn the property types in your neighborhood, learn about your neighborhood. And that learning about your neighborhood isn't just about the community, the transit, the schools. It's the OCP, the official community plan, the zoning. How is it changing? What's going on? What are the building applications? If you start talking about new projects that are coming down the pipe, guess what? Developers have terrible SEO half the time. And if you start talking about it now, you might show up ahead of their website or right next to it if you're just pumping out content about their project. So there's a lot of little hacks to get leads and info online. You just have to put yourself out there. That's it.